Hey, Jerry Foster, the branding evangelist, back at you for video 7 in the Better Branding for Bigger Sales video series. Now, in this video, I want to dig deep into something that's really, really important when it comes to this whole thing about what does it take to have a brand that people are going to pay attention to. And it's one trait that all great brands have in common. And the word is stickability. Yes, stickability. You must have stickability. So here's my point. When I say stickability, what I'm referring to is making sure that you distinguish yourself in the most impactful manner possible, that people will notice you and remember you at all times, because the uniqueness or point of difference that you own, that I've been talking about up to this point in the series, is so dominant that people cannot ignore you. Now, according to research, if you want to turn people on, and when I talk about research, I'm talking about research done around this whole thing called branding. If you want to turn people on so that they do what you want them to do, which really boils down to what? Getting them to work with you, you must appeal to and communicate to their emotions. Because if you simply provide information, if all you do is put out some kind of marketing offer or whatever that marketing promotional device may be, chances are it is not going to be very effective unless you have made it a point to speak to the emotions that lie in the heart of your buyer. So let's take advertising, because advertising is the best vehicle that you can learn from around this whole idea called how do you get people to buy any kind of brand. So in advertising, for example, there are various types of what are called appeals. And these appeals are used in advertising to stimulate the consumer's desire to buy any kind of brand. Now, there are a range of appeals that you can choose from. You as a service-based entrepreneur, they can range from rational appeals to emotional appeals to fear appeals to sexual appeals to humor appeals. There's a whole lot to choose from, but the point is that you want to dial into that so that you can get people to do what you want them to do by making sure that they do what? That they bond with you because of how you are connecting with them through their heart and not their head. Now, let me say that a different way. While there are various types of appeals that you can choose from to grab the attention of your target audience, okay? The bottom line is that it's all about getting people to remember you. And the way that you get people to remember you is because of what they feel. And so when you are presenting your expertise, your skills, talents, abilities, services, so on and so forth, you must get emotional in all of your interaction with them, because emotion is what drives people to remember anything. It's human nature. So here's where I'm going with all of this, because being able to connect with people emotionally is obviously what's going to drive people doing whatever it is that you want them to do. And it has to sort of be very compatible in terms of you deciding on how you want to show up as a brand. Now, throughout this entire series, as you know, my goal is for people to see you as what? As being the smart choice, the only choice, the best option, the person to do business with, because I want people to see you as the leader. I want people to see you as top shelf, panache, the person, the man, the woman that they should work with, the leader, number one in your space, because you have to separate yourself from the rest of the herd. And within the context of getting people within your target audience to perceive you as a market leader among the elite at what you do, it has to pivot. It has to pivot on those things that are going to do what? Hold up your brand, so that when you make the emotional appeals to them, everything sort of blends together. Okay? Now, there's different ways that you can do your pivot. So we've been talking about the different ways of appealing to people. Now I want to kind of shift a little bit in terms of the other part of that, which is how are you going to position yourself? How are you going to pivot your brand on some pillars that people are really, really going to admire? So it could be, for example, that you want to pivot your brand, position yourself as the authority around your level of what? Your excellence. That you have an unsurpassed skill level. So think Michael Jordan, think Tom Brady, if you get what I'm going with this. You could decide that you want to go ahead and pivot yourself around your out-of-the-box way of thinking. Now, that's a good one. Because, and we're going to talk more about this in the next video, by the way, if you have a special way of serving, that if you have out-of-the-box thinking that inspires others and gets people to have more confidence in what it is that you say your brand can do, that's going to help give you that edge in the marketplace. And so today, I did a little research. I started looking up some really great major personal brands that are rocking it. I mean, they are crushing it in terms of how they're branding themselves. So for example, I came across a guy named Mark Manson. This guy is an internet entrepreneur who gives life advice that doesn't suck. That's how he's positioned himself. Life advice that doesn't suck. Whoa. And then there's a woman named Alice Thorpe who describes herself on her YouTube channel as this freelance graphic designer stumbling through life one pixel at a time. And we can't ignore Gary Vee. I mean, this guy is a freaking rock star when it comes to being a social media influencer and very, very successful entrepreneur and podcaster who does what? He gives you this no holds barred, this in your face advice that gives people the confidence in what it is that they're doing. Are you getting me here? I mean, it's all around speaking to their heart, but you got to back it up around where do you excel? What is it that makes you as special and appealing to people as much as possible, okay? Now, let's just not leave it there. Let's take this a step further. Maybe this whole thing about appealing to the heart and emotions of the buyer is all around how you position yourself, how you show up, which basically means what do you want people to think about you? So let's go further. Maybe you could position yourself, pivot around your incredible ability to deliver results that are better than the competition. Or maybe you could pivot your brand around filling a void in the marketplace with what are called underserved people. People who have needs and wants that are not being met, or they're being met poorly. Okay? Or maybe it could be around your personality. Oh yeah, personality is huge in the service branding, in personal branding space. And so when we are looking at how to configure your brand to harness your personality, it could be around how relatable you are. It could be around your sense of humor, or perhaps the way you speak, the way you dress, the way you wear your hair. We're talking about all things physical here. We're talking about your physicality. that could play a big role in your brand and getting it to appeal to other people. And let's not forget about your lifestyle. Oh yeah, lifestyle can be huge, because for a lot of brands, especially personal brands, people want to see your surroundings. They want to see how you live. They want to see and hear and learn about personal things about your life that can further bond you with your audience. So I'll give you a great example of that. Here in LA, where I'm based, where I live, there's a very popular orthopedic surgeon. His name is Dr. Clapper, and he has a very successful, very powerful Saturday morning radio show, Dr. Clapper, and he's known as the orthopedic surgeon who surfs. I mean, the guy on his radio show, he not only delivers his technical knowledge when people call in around their orthopedic issues and all of that, this guy will talk about surfing. He'll talk about the best restaurants to go eat. He'll talk about where you can get the best donuts and pastry. I mean, the guy is so personable. So you get my point here? The idea here is to make it a point to get emotional with people, connect with people through their hearts, not their head, so that it further bonds with them and they see you as the person they want to do business with. So here's the deal. I get it. I really get it. And that is, having stickability is hard. It ain't easy. It's not. Because what I'm talking about here is not you finding ways to be clever. Because a lot of people think that with branding, it's about being clever. And so what we're not talking about here is you coming up with some kind of creative, pithy phrase or saying that's going to make you kind of stand out from the rest of the crowd. What this video number what are we on? 7? What this video is really about, what this entire series is about, if I had to have a theme, it's about you challenging status quo. It's you about challenging the way you go about getting clients, especially the ideal dream best type of clients that you really want your brand to attract so that they pay the fees you want them to pay. And so it's time for you to perhaps flip the script, shuffle the deck, lead the crowd, and not follow the crowd by making a decision to what? Buck the system. And bucking the system is not easy. Because this is about you now deciding to swim against the current, which is scary. Because the natural tendency for many folks is to do what? Look at the others in your industry, look at their websites, look at how they present themselves, and so on and so forth. And you go ahead and pretty much do the same thing. But here's the thing. In today's climate, in today's marketplace, in the way that the online marketplace specifically is so crowded, you must buck the system. You must make it a point to have a top shelf, best in class brand to get the kind of clients that you want to attract, and more importantly, that you deserve. Okay? So listen, click the link below. If you want to have a brainstorming session with me, we can get deep into this with your situation. Like I said in video 1, I'm not going to try to sell you anything. I'm a giver, not a taker. Would love to just kick around some things that maybe you haven't thought about. so that you can get on the right path and have that explosive growth that you're seeking. Okay? So until next time, Jerry Foster, the Branding Evangelist, signing off. See you in the next video. Take care.